Beyond the Ghostlight.
Hello.
How'd you do?
Welcome to Beyond the Ghostlight. I know we look a little different this time.
Crowded.
I know.
Look at this elbow roll.
Look at this. Oh my God.
What elbow room? I don't know what you're talking about. There is no elbow room.
I didn't hear
It's
anything.
in like 10.
No, nobody said anything about elbow room. We are in love with each other. We are all vaccinated, by the way, anybody out there who's concerned. We're all vaccinated and negative and close and family, basically. So
Yeah.
welcome. This is a special Beyond the Ghostlight, everybody, because this time we have Michael John.
Thank you. Really, thank you. Thank you for letting me be here today.
Of course. Listen, so Michael Johns is my gay bestie, but also Michael Johns is an incredible artist in the Detroit area, and he and I are currently co-directing this year's iteration of Rocky Horror Picture Show Shadowcast at Beacon Park in Detroit, Michigan.
Let's do the time warp again. Oh my God.
Listen, we're going to time warp so hard. We're going to time warp so hard. We are going to change time. This is what's happening.
When are we time warping?
We are time warping this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's October 7th, 8th, and 9th at 8 p.m. at Beacon Park downtown.
Ooh.
Yes.
So let me just ask, what makes this version different than like if I wanted to go see a musical version of Rocky Horror, or I wanted to find my favorite like dive theater and just come at a midnight showing? What's different about this show?
So this show is a shadow cast. So what's happening with a shadow cast is the movie itself is going to be playing behind us, and then the actors, those of us on stage, are literally shadowing what's playing behind us, as you can see right here, right?
Right. Okay.
Going.
Everything's backwards. Right now.
Going 4D, 3D, 4D, 4D.
Right.
That's a little bit of a reveal, because in case you didn't know, this young man right here is playing Dr. Frankenfurter during that show. So basically, if you're not familiar with what a shadowcast is, it's kind of like making the movie 3D. We're literally bringing the movie down to a stage. If it wasn't, pre-pandemic times, we literally go into the audience. We got to do a little finagling because we want to keep people safe this time. But yeah, it's an interactive way to experience the performance and the production. So,
Ooh,
100%.
I love it. So I am not a virgin to the Rocky Horror experience. So should I bring my own like toast and like rice, or do I need to worry about any of that?
not this time.
Ooh.
So if you are familiar and you've done it before, you already know sometimes you got to bring your supplies, right, to be able to interact with what's going on. This time, though, we have bags prepared for you. So you just got to bring your fabulous self. If you want to dress up, dress the hell up. Get fabulous. Be Transylvanian, if you will, with me. And we're going to provide the supplies that you need to enjoy, interact, and have a good time.
Let's talk about that really quick, about what the grab bags are.
Yeah.
So this movie was sort of written to be more of an interactive type situation. So there's callback lines, there are audience participation moments. So usually when you see a DVD, if you ever were to get this on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, or a digital version, there's an option for you to actually watch the movie with the call lines and the participation moments. This has become something of a cult classic over the past 40 years. Oh, we're almost in 50 years.
Oh my God,
It's
yeah.
actually 50. I think it's the 50th anniversary coming up.
Don't say things like that. That makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We weren't
So-
around when
That's
it
not the
was
point.
Ancient traditions,
Right.
as you can see.
exactly. But like there's specific areas where like it's raining. So we give you water guns, and then you can shoot everybody in the face with water guns because it's fun. And like because of the park and the fact that we're not allowed to use like food things because we want to save the pigeons and birds. Like there's usually rice for like the wedding scene, and you throw rice everywhere. But now we do bubbles because bubbles are safer for our animal friends. And things like that, like newspapers, there's gloves, there's all of that sort of stuff. So when we're referencing like those grab bags, that's why.
Yes.
When you come to the show, we do have some that are free to you when you do come, and you just grab those. And at those times, you'll know exactly when you need to use everything because you're sort of shadowing what's on the screen and shadowing the shadowing house. So, yeah.
So many shadows.
I know.
So many shadows.
Considering we are a theatrical shadow work company,
Right.
I feel like that's a beautiful connection. Beautiful
Look at that. We are consummate professionals.
With all that beautifulness being said, let's go ahead and let's get to know you a little better. Let's get to know what's going on, all right? So let's start out with what have some of the joys and challenges been putting on Rocky Live this year?
Well, there's a couple. So, yeah, there's a few. So I am actually the co-founder and the marketing director of the Detroit Actors Theater Company. So we are actually, this is our first partnership together. Well,
I
first
know.
and last, honestly, because unfortunately COVID was not good to us. So we did end up closing our doors. So the fact that we were able to bring you all some fun this fall and Halloween season one last time has been one of the greatest joys of all time. And being able to work with the Ibis with this has just been so magical. And Tori is a veteran with our theater company as well. And then as soon as I brought her on as co-director. So, and then she brought the rest of her team with her. So being able to work with new people, getting new ideas, and figuring out what we can do together to make this really awesome has been a joy in and of itself. And the fact that this year we don't have to wear masks.
Oh,
Is-
okay. So for those of you who don't know, this is a yearly thing. It's annual. It happens in October every year. And last year, because it was a pandemic, we didn't think we were going to be able to do it.
Correct.
But we do it outside, so we were able to finagle it. But the only way we were able to finagle it last year was every actor had to wear a mask on stage. So when
That's like half your face.
literally,
Right?
so it cuts off a lot of ability to like really express with your face, but also it literally cuts off your ability to breathe.
Breathe.
So you're running around on stage, you're back and forth, you're doing costume changes, and you're just like in the back, put it back on. And then I'm jumping around at one point because there's a point where I'm dancing and I'm literally jumping and I'm just like, I'm wearing two masks at this point. Two masks. Yeah, no, I could breathe. It was fine. It was so fine.
So fine.
Not fine.
Everything was fine.
This year is going to be so much better. Very happy.
I started to realize like why it was always so difficult for ladies to wear masks and breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I have facial hair,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh God.
So you put a mask on. When with facial hair, you have you have
Yeah, it's like a
microscopic
little
ways.
filter.
Exactly,
Yeah.
to set it away from your face.
Uh-huh.
When I shave for the show, as Dr. Frankenfurter, I thought I was gonna die.
I didn't realize
It was-
that facial hair was such like a buffer, like a little
I
air
know,
filter.
it's so weird because it allows the air to filter, not
Yeah.
filter through, but there's room for it to go. Otherwise, the nostrils just
Mhm.
and that's exactly what it's like. Is that my
So
Right.
again,
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
case for facial hair once again. because
Right.
That's the way to go.
So I'm just very happy that I'm.
Top tip there, ladies. Grow those beards.
I was gonna
You're
say, I'm
right.
just gonna stop waxing. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Nobody will know because I'm wearing a mask.
Oh, so speaking of live theater, I'm just gonna say it's been so. I feel like the last couple of weeks we've just been able to have all of these amazing season announcements. I went to a show this weekend. Went to a show last week. It's been like heaven again, honestly. And I will say, there's things that happen during live theater. There is just it's magical, right? This is why we go to see theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't necessarily just get that from film or something like that. There was a story about last year's Rocky Horror that I happened to be blessed enough to sit in the audience for. Can you tell us a little bit about that live moment and any other live moments that you've kind of had with Rocky, either this year or other years, that have been just sort of, again, live theater in action?
Sure. So last year, it was. I can't help but laugh Okay, so we're in this whole pandemic situation, you know, and it's not that restaurants were necessarily closed. They were for mass amounts of people in indoors, you know. So a lot of things happened outside, obviously. Really wonderful. Detroit was like in the forefront of that, like Bedrock especially, like put out all of these pergolas and got heaters out there, so throughout the winter, restaurants were still able to like keep up. Well, there is a very lovely restaurant in Beacon Park called Lumen, and they were hosting a wedding on our closing night. And because of the pandemic situation that was happening, that wedding was outside. Now our tent was in the park that is quite literally next to Lumen. So we're performing our show, and there is a wedding happening about 50 feet away from us. So there's DJ music playing over there. There's our movie music playing over here. There are some very specific call lines that happen, particularly around Brad and Janet.
Oh my
the
gosh.
slut and asshole
Asshole slut.
So that started happening at the Daddy Daughter Dance.
Oh!
Which was pretty crazy. And the eyes of the people in the wedding, attending the wedding, were just they were absolutely mortified. And like, what are you gonna do? So like, we're trying to figure out like turning our speakers this way, and then the DJ turned his speakers in, so that we sort of had this weird like dead space in between. So it like worked out after. But I just would love to see the video of that wedding. Because I want to know how many assholes and sluts.
It's like five years later. Let's watch this again.
Right?
Oh, look at that. Asshole!
Right. Exactly. We may have single-handedly ruined a wedding.
Or we may have single-handedly created the most unique and perfect wedding ever.
Right.
And certainly the best wedding video.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Here's my theory, right? And this may not be true, and it's probably not true, but this is what I'm believing in my head, so I can sleep. For me, the bride and groom were huge fans of Rocky Horror Picture
Clearly.
Show. Where did you hear this? In my head.
Oh,
Right.
okay,
See, he
okay.
doesn't listen. He doesn't
Okay,
listen
you know
when I
what?
talk. So for me, I'm just going to have the narrative, because we design our own narratives, right?
Yes.
So for me, the narrative is the bride and groom were super fans, and they actually couldn't afford to have a Rocky Horror themed wedding, and so they were very grateful that we were doing what we were doing.
That's
So you're
exactly-
welcome, Brad and Janet.
You're welcome.
That'll help us sleep.
Spicy
That'll
up
help us
Josh
sleep
Groban.
tonight.
One wedding.
Oh my God,
I know.
yes.
It was seriously. And I also almost took down the screen. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, you almost took out. And listen, when we say took down a screen, 20 by 30 foot screen.
Yeah, it's massive.
Like just a wall.
Yeah.
It almost took down a wall.
So there's so many things that we had to change last year because we weren't allowed. Usually we're in the audience. Tori said this earlier. We're in the audience. We're participating with you. We're climbing on you. It's like weird, whatever. But last year we weren't allowed to leave the stage, because we wanted to keep that distance between people, and it was still pretty new. We didn't know like what was going on. We didn't want to get near people like everyone has the plague. Like, so we stayed on stage, right? So when I die in the end,
Spoiler!
I'm sorry. Oh shit. I'm sorry. Well, that's fine. It's okay. But anyway, like at the end, I have to get off of the stage. We'll say that.
It's spoilers for
So
a
we-
46-year-old.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. So I had to jump in between the stage and the screen, and I jumped a little too far,
Oh
and
no.
I hit the screen, and then fell down, and it was like it moved a lot.
Oh my God.
And I got real scared because I'm like, okay, this is probably like a $250,000 LED screen,
Okay.
and I think that I might have.
But, like,
Yeah, you can show them why this
Also,
happened.
I'm going
Okay.
to have to stop you to understand why maybe that might have been how fucking gorgeous these are.
Worth it.
And custom made too.
Custom made, yeah.
Custom made 5-inch pumps.
Everyone, message Shoes of Prey and tell them to open their business again. Because this is literally like the greatest company ever.
You heard that, right?
Shoes of Prey.
Shoes of Prey.
Dear Shoes of Prey, we love you, we miss you, come back to us.
So, speaking of changes,
Yes.
the things that people have called out throughout the movie's history have changed.
Yes.
Things change in the production. What would you like to see in future productions of Rocky Horror?
So, okay,
Question.
that's an excellent question.
Yes.
Trying to figure out how to make it even more campy than it already is. You know, but like as we see with a lot of things that are, you know, past older generations, we see a lot of whitewashing. We see a lot of like the, you know, very, very, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
You know, the DATC has been over the past few years has been dedicated to sort of like working with like the more BIPOC cast members.
Yes.
And I would love to see that. Like this year we have an African American Rocky, which I think is awesome. And you know, and I think that that's great because you see like blonde hair and a tan, and you think of like, you know, some like Ken doll, and then you know, then you see this gorgeous Adonis, you know, with a real tan. And it's wonderful because, you know, it's like it's out of the box. And so I would love to see that. I would love to see something like that's more like gender bent. Like that's something that does happen. You know, usually there's a tradition that after 5 years you do it. And, you know, like stuff like that, like you switch the sexes, which is still a little bit more complicated now. But you know, it's something that, you know, I think there's so many things you could do with it. It's so avant-garde. Like it's a movie that just like broke the mold at that time. Why not break it 50 years later?
You dipped into some
You know.
Frankie there.
Did
Good.
I?
You did it right.
What did I do? I didn't
Broke the mold.
broke the mold. Come up to the left. See what is on this left.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sneak previews, everybody.
Yes,
Be
yes.
there.
So you do have that like beautiful Tim Curry kind of quality to your voice when you do voice him, even though in a shadow cast we don't voice as much. So I also would love to hear you sing one day. I have a feeling you might have a vocal baritone. But we'll get to that at another time. But speaking of musicals, let me ask you, what musical would you like to be seen in Detroit next season and to see it done right? Tell us about it, Janet.
Tell us about it, Janet. Okay, so I would love to see, we unfortunately were not able to put on The Color Purple. I would love to see The Color Purple.
Yes.
I would love to see that show come to an audience that doesn't need to pay for it.
Yes.
Because it's such a beautiful and wonderful message. I know that your mission as the Ibis is to bring theater to the community and make it like the most accessible that you possibly can, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Because art in and of itself should not be for any sort of elite. It should not be for any one segment of an audience. It should be for everyone. It enriches everyone's lives. You know, and a show that has that much meaning and that much purpose for history, for it's forward thinking, like when it was created, you know, like something like that, to really be able to show that there are people that are so talented that don't always have a stage to be that way.
Yeah.
And that's so unfortunate. And I know that's like, I mean, The Color Purple, like, yeah, okay, fine. Like, it's like, of course, it's the musical that talks about African American heritage and all of that sort of stuff. There are other shows, but the messaging that comes with that is so important. And any show I would love to see here, ones that, you know, that you would normally think of in a specific way, changed, and not have to worry about like what your idea of somebody is. You know what I mean? Like to have a woman play the role of a man, or a, you know, like give me some examples. Like Rent was very like forward thinking when it came to that. Like it was a very diverse audience and stuff. But like Mark and Roger always play. You know what I mean? Like what if we had a nation? What if we had, you know, someone of African American descent? What if we had like an Arab, you know, Arab descent or something like that? Like just being able to explore, you know, different viewpoints than just what we're used to seeing, because that's how we've been conditioned. I think that would be something that would be awesome. You know, keeping with tradition, but still being able to like, I'm sorry, I'm
no, don't stop.
Expand the aperture, man. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that reminds me of the conversation that we had the other day about Wicked.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
Belinda is black. Who's excited?
Yes.
I swear.
Yes, who wouldn't be?
I was literally in the middle of a meeting
Yeah.
because I'm at work now, right?
I know, that's
So
a
like
thing,
I'm in the
right?
office a couple days a week, and we take our meetings at our desks if we can't like get into a room big enough because we still have rules set up, even though it's not overarching for
Right.
companies in general. We still do to keep our team members safe. So I was taking a meeting at my desk, and I have a wall of TVs that is literally next to me. That we have news, we have like a whole bunch of stuff that's on there. And it was Good Morning America, and they were, I think, or the Today Show. It was the Today Show, wherever they're outside when they do the outside thing.
Yeah.
Today Show.
And they were celebrating the opening of Wicked on Broadway. It was the day they were opening that night. And I was looking at the screen, and I was like, "Oh, Alpha, yay, Wicked! I've seen it 6 times. I love it." And then I see Galinda, and I literally go, "Holy shit!" And I took off my headset, and then everyone's like. And I go, hold on a second. And I go and I stare at the screen, and I was like, and I took my camera and I turned it and I said, you guys, history has just been made on Broadway.
Right.
Like we have an African American playing Galinda
Yes.
in Wicked. And I got so emotional
Yeah.
because like you, and how long has it been on? You know, like you think Kristen Chenoweth, you think all of these other things. And it was so beautiful. And it's like, why can't that happen?
Yes.
It can happen.
It can
You know, and they made it happen. And I think that was magic. Like truly, that was wonderful.
The people are who are going to make it happen.
Yes.
Right.
Like we speak with our dollars, we speak with what we support. And if we say enough is enough, we want more racially open casting. We
Yeah.
want to see people of color on the stage
Yes.
in these roles. If we say that with our dollars, like we're not going to see that show if it's the same as it's always been, people are going to make changes. And that's what happened in 2020, right? That's what happened in the industry, is that the industry as a whole went, oh shit.
It was a wake-up call for everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
It really was.
there was a lot that happened, and a ton of political unrest, and understandably so. You know what I mean? But you start to think about this stuff, and you know, I won't go there. But I was gonna say, coming from a person of color, I look white, but you know, Lebanese.
We've had this
Anyway,
debate, y'all.
yeah,
We
I
can't-
didn't realize until somebody told me that was a thing. You know, but you talk about privilege, right? So, you know, there was a lot that happened last year, and a lot of the unrest, especially with the BIPOC community and how they've been treated and how they've been segmented and all of that sort of stuff. And you know, their protests and their voice, I feel, has finally been heard to a point. There needs to be more, obviously. But I think that the strides that have been made seemed a little pandery at first, but it turned out, I've seen it continue past the immediate, like, we're fixing this right now just to like get them to shut up,
Right.
versus like, okay, we got a bigger situation here that we really need to address. And I think that people are starting to realize that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes me very happy.
And to see how theater is leading in that way, reminding ourselves that like, hey, until people of color see themselves as heroes in the middle of or what have, you know, complex characters in the middle, front and center spotlight,
Right.
not in the chorus line, not the best friend.
No.
Until we see that representation, we you know, that's the strides we're looking forward to.
Exactly. It's like making that normal. It should be normal.
And it's all
You know?
about storytelling,
Right.
because the more voices you have, the more perspectives you have,
Exactly.
the more interesting the stories you can tell.
I love that.
And that is beautiful. And if we're
Yeah.
thinking of a business, like in a business sense, think about it in ways of how you can expand your audience with that.
Yeah.
You know, how you can attract new people coming to your stage,
Mhm.
new people coming to see your show, new people patronizing you who didn't feel included before.
Right.
What they now feel like they have a home, they have a space, they have a company that sees them, hears them, feels them, wants to support them. You know, like it's not a business thing, but it's an inclusivity thing. But it will, like, when you do good, good comes back to you. It's karma. It's you know, it's important. And I think that the more we do things like that, the more we're gonna see society change, crime go down, like all of this sort of stuff, because then there's a place for people.
Right.
They have a home too. And you have all of this energy and this sometimes negativity and like you're lost sometimes. You don't know where you belong and you don't feel like you can be like included and do something. Theater changes you.
Right. That's always what theater's about, is that home for people.
Exactly.
Find,
we're nerds. We're all geeks, like, but we have lives and we have like, you know what I mean? But like we have family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, it's our chosen family. And that's so important to be able to share with the greater population.
Amen. And I'm gonna say right up. So like it's family season, everybody. It is. It's fall. It's my favorite time of the year. It is this time where we just bring everything together. It's sweater. Y'all, I literally went and got pumpkins right before this. So like, I got one so big I had to make my husband pick it up. I was like, nope, I'm not even trying. I'm so excited to carve pumpkins this year. Seriously, it's like that time of year, man. And so that's kind of what I love. Also, Rocky is one of those shows where you can dip your toes in the freaky and the horror, but you also get to have fun and you're dancing and singing along with it. But I will say, like, okay, when you watch the show, not for kids, in general, children, leave the babies at home. But, when you're watching the show, there's not a lot of actual, like, horror. It's a lot of camp, it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of poking fun at the old Hollywood horror genres, right? Yes. But there is a little bit of horror, right? With the Eddie character, if you guys are familiar with the show, there's a little cannibalism in this show. It's a body horror. So
tasty too.
Right?
I mean, it's meatloaf.
It's meatloaf.
So
It's
literally meatloaf.
Which is the joke, I think.
Is that a problem? If I heard that this year, I'm gonna totally break it.
It's
Oh my
It's
God.
Meatloaf. I think there are callbacks around that too. So
Okay, I will prepare
Gird
myself.
yourself, right?
Gird your loins.
Somebody Google it. So, like, why? I love this. Why do you think this blend of comedy and horror is so popular? Like, why do you think it's been timeless for 46 years?
Because it's different. It was so crazy when it first came out, right?
Yeah,
Like this was the 70s. Like I think it was 71, right? When this came out, 72 maybe.
I think it was like, 71 or 72 on stage, and then 75 as the movie.
Somebody drop it in the chat.
Somebody go look that up.
We should know that.
We should know that, but
we don't.
we
For
don't.
7 years.
So.
We're really professional.
Yeah.
Somebody Google when
Consummate-
Rocky Horror was
consummate
put out
professional.
and
Right.
drop it in there.
We know you guys are going to correct us anyway. So
Right. Exactly. So sometime in the early 70s, when this was created, like it was a different time.
Yep.
And like you started to get into some more of that like hippie culture, like coming from the 60s, traveling, like going into the 70s. You're getting into that glam rock. You're getting into that. Is there a question?
No, we got it.
1975.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deja. Oh, hi, Deja. Hi, baby. Okay, so I think that like you have a whole bunch of different varieties of people in that movie. So you have Brad and Janet, who are like the quintessential like buttoned up like youth of the day, like covering up everything, like very like oh my God, we kissed and it was just the most magical thing ever. Like fast forward to 2022, that's just like really you only kiss like so you have like that like perfect like this is how you're supposed to be, and then you see for the first time on stage on a mainstream level a man dressed as a female character. So you have like the trans thought process coming out for the first time. You have all of these really
Sorry.
and I'm sorry, please forgive me if that does not sound if I wasn't right in saying something like that. But like I feel that at the time it was scary. Right. You see all of these people, you see like the Transylvanians, and you see like they're just I don't give a shit. I'm gonna just like love everything about whatever. It's just like this glamorous lifestyle and like this weird, crazy, and it's like Frankenstein. So Frankenstein back when that came out in like the 20s and stuff like that, that was very scary. Know? So like, and then they brought that into, I feel this is like a Frankenstein like revamp, for today. So
Sure.
And that's where I feel like the more horror comes in, plus the connection back to Frankenstein and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, mad scientist. Like,
Exactly.
how many haunted houses?
But speaking of Frank,
Yeah.
you know, you're playing such an iconic role.
Yeah.
So what has that taught you about yourself, about the role, about playing a character that is iconic?
IGAF.
Yeah.
That is what that is. That, you know, playing Frank did so many things for my confidence. I am a fluffy individual. And I used to do so many things to try to hide that part of me. I always felt like it's not necessarily body dysmorphia because I am fluffy, you know, but like, it's not like I'm seeing myself like in a different way than I truly am, but I was still ashamed of that.
Yeah.
You know, I come on stage in almost nothing, like literally underwear. I used to wear, like when I first did it, I used to wear like 6 pairs of tights. Plus compression stockings underneath that to try to shape me. And I had things that would come up over my stomach to try to like make me like smaller and all of that stuff because I felt like I need to be Tim Curry. I need to be like this skinny little skinny mini. And you know, and then like 3 years ago, I actually stopped wearing all of those things. I was able to I worked on myself a little bit. I was able to take in my corset a little bit more, which I thought was wonderful. Still a little fluffy, but I didn't wear any of the tights. I didn't wear any of that sort of stuff. It's like if that man can get up on the screen, like on the stage and whatever, and do that, why can't I? What is stopping me from doing something like that? And then also like being that character sort of, I feel, makes it okay for other people to do the same. You know, it's like, be who you are. My favorite line in the whole show is, you know, towards the end, we're swimming in the water, and it's like after the floor show, it's don't dream it, be it.
Right.
You know, and like I literally am getting a tattoo that says don't dream it, be it, because it's such a beautiful statement. You know, you don't need to dream. We are living in a time where we can actually do a lot more than we could. And like, if this is just the first step to getting to that point of me getting on stage and being very vulnerable in that way, I will tell you, the thing that changed me was the very first time I threw off that cape and the crowd went fucking wild. And I missed my next cue. I was in shock.
Yes.
And Eric, my business partner at the time, he was like, he goes, he's my co-founder. He goes, that feels good, doesn't it? And he goes, tomorrow night, don't miss your cue. You know? I'm like, okay.
It's like, okay, got your movement.
Right.
Now
You
don't
know,
fucking do
don't do it again. We're still putting on a show. Okay. You know, just being comfortable with yourself and just don't care. You know, there's always going to be people. There's always going to be opinions. There's always going to be those that aren't ready to experience, you know, who people really, truly feel that they are. And, you know, and that's okay. And we can't expect people to always be understanding. I think that we get caught in that area of like, well, I am me, so you just need to accept me. It's like, no, they don't. You know, they truly don't. But it is not your responsibility to try to force them to do so or convince them to do so or associate with them. Right. And that's the part that I think is a very important piece. You know, this allowed me to realize, like, I have some very conservative family members that aren't necessarily like, you know, like okay with like the fact that I'm playing like a trans person, but they still love me, all of that. But it's like, I'm just not going to invite you to the show.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
you're invited to the cookout.
Right, exactly. It's not like it's not who I am, but it's part of me.
Yeah.
And being able to feel comfortable and say that, I think is the most important, you know?
God, that's gorgeous. And just really quickly, like I love that you, like, this is a role that gives people permission to
Yes.
literally feel their most confident that they ever know. And then
Exactly.
you doing that, having that kind of influence on people watching right now or people watching in the audience.
I mean, I
or-
hope I have that influence. I don't know
You
if I
do
but-
have an influence. Like, you just gave a whole bunch of permission to, like, you know, rock a cape and a corset and feel fucking great about it. And I think that that's such a cool thing. And you were talking a little bit earlier about, like, this show and how, like, some of these roles were seen as scary by very traditional America, but that in the queer community, there was so much, I want to say, like seeing identity in the villains, right? Where you're like, okay, well, we don't see ourselves anywhere else, but that's fucking fabulous. And it yes, you can be it. You don't have to dream it. And so I thank you for sharing that. That was really,
sure.
really cool.
Yeah, I'd like to take this moment also to, like, not segue is not the word, but to just highlight that one of the tenets of the Ibis, one of the things that's very important to us is the healing power of art.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the story you just told is an anecdote. It's a perfect cross section of what we believe in with art. You were able to do shadow work for yourself while being Frankenfurter, and you came out a better Michael. Like, still yourself, but a better version of you because you accepted yourself more fully. And that is what art can do. And that is one of the most powerful things, that when we come together and allow ourselves to be just a little bit more vulnerable than we usually do, just a little bit more open than we usually do, and we accept the power that art has, it can literally change our lives.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes.
That was.
Love it.
You guys.
Maybe think of the church or anything.
Well, we're kind of on the topic of horror.
Yeah.
Right. And in recent years, Richard O'Brien, the creator of Rocky Horror, has said some pretty horrific statements in general in regards to people who are trans or identify as trans persons. So how do we separate, again, a beloved queer iconic story from the creators, right? This is one of those moments where we have to face that, separating art from the artist. Or how do you kind of, what's your process kind of with doing that as a director and someone who's in the show?
So I had to actually look up what he said.
Sure.
And I will
totally.
be honest with you. I didn't hear anything about, like, I did not know, because I thought that he came out as gender fluid anyway. You know,
Right, gotcha.
And so to hear that he had made comments like that on like the queer culture and the trans, like the trans identifying people was a little shocking, you know. But at the same time, I feel that it's within everyone's right to have their own opinion on something. Whether or not you agree with that opinion is your prerogative. But everyone is entitled to it. That is our human right to have our own feelings. And we tend to get into this, like, what celebrity says, celebrity does, celebrity is law. And that is not necessarily something that I feel like we need to pay attention to. And we have to absolutely develop our own opinions, and we have to accept people on our own terms. You know, and we can't, I'm going to go kind of back to what I was saying before. You can't force people into like this space. That's what he thinks. That's not what everyone thinks.
Right.
And I think that it's our job as directors, as theater people, as hosts to bring in more members of our family, is to allow people to express themselves and feel as they are. And you know, whether we want to say that somebody who does experience like, you know, I need the term, like
Discrimination?
no, transition, like therapy or transition surgery or like things like that. Great.
Yeah.
That's you. That's what you feel is for you and what you need to do to feel more whole. That's not my job to say I agree or disagree with that, you know, and I struggle with that a lot with, like, my religion. I'm Catholic, which, you know, we all know what that's like, being a homo in the Catholic Church. But, you know, like, things like that, and I tend to lean more conservatively you know, but at the same time, it is not my job to tell anybody what they should or should not be. Because here I am feeling that like, and this is gonna, I'm sorry, it's gonna start getting preachy, but my lifestyle is between God and myself. You know, that's my law. You know, humans on this world, or like in this world, can say whatever they want and feel however they want, but I know that I have that relationship with my superior, you know, and my faith holds true to that. And I feel that God doesn't make mistakes. Amen. And a lot of people feel that that would make God fallible, to have somebody like transition into a different sex. Mm-hmm. But why do we feel like we know what that is? What if that was a part of their path? What if that was, you know what I mean? Like, what if that was something that was a lesson needed to be learned, not maybe for that person, but for somebody else that comes along in their lives? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there is a specific set of things, you know, that we have these milestones that we hit in our life. Yeah. Okay, those are set in stone. And the things that, this is my belief system. These are set in stone, you know, and everyone always questions, what about free will? What about all this? I told you it's getting very preachy. But then, like, you know, like we can either take the straight and narrow from like, you know, whatever to whatever, and learning whatever we have to in the meantime, or we take the scenic route, you know? And so that to me is where your free will comes in. It's like, you are going to make these decisions. You are going to do something that is going to change like the outcome of something else, but you are going to hit that spot. You are going to experience something at that moment for a purpose. And the path that you take to get there is up to you. You know what I mean? So everything I feel happens for a reason. Everything is the way that it is. I digressed kind of, but at the same time, I feel like it still works. You know, people aren't always ready to experience these types of things. And if we are really being honest with ourselves, it's new. It's a new concept for people to try to accept or to understand. And the only thing we can do is help them understand with kindness and compassion, because we want them to feel that way to us. We need to feel that way to them. Right. And that is the most important thing. Like, you give what you get. And if you give negativity and you give that I don't want to be near you, I don't want to talk to you because you don't accept me exactly who I am, then what do you think they're going to feel like? You know, Richard O'Brien is one thing. It's weird because he's just an anomaly with like comments and stuff like that. But I feel like as humans, we can do that, you know, in whatever way we feel is the most appropriate for the situation that we're in.
Thank you for taking us to church. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Happy Sunday, folks.
It is Sunday.
It is Sunday.
I forgot about that.
Literally going to church. Take me to church.
I love it. So good. Okay.
Do we have more? We have more questions.
We do have more
We have
questions.
more questions.
Nick, what do you think?
So I was wondering, you know, the shadow casting, and I think I've seen it done a couple of other places with some other shows. I remember seeing a burlesque shadow cast thing for Labyrinth, which
You remind me of the babe.
yes, exactly, which has actually progressed to a full shadow cast now.
Right.
Because Goblin King players were the ones who did originally. They started doing a burlesque show of Labyrinth, and now they do a shadow cast.
Okay. What? Oh. I'm sorry, that is my mind exploding face.
Yeah.
Where is this company and why have I not heard of it?
Okay, so they're based in Flint, but they use the Redford Theatre.
Yes.
Oh my God!
It's amazing. They did Lost Boys movie, I believe this
They
year
did Hocus
too.
Pocus.
And they
Yes.
did Hocus Pocus.
That was the
Yes.
answer to that
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Was Hocus Pocus. That was
But
the answer.
I saw their burlesque show.
Uh-oh, Tori's having her moment now. What?
Wait, they did what?
They did a shadow cast of Hocus Pocus. They sold out the Redford Theatre.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
That was a thing.
I I
They
know.
sell out pretty much all of the shows because.
Of course they fucking do.
Yeah,
It's Hocus
yeah,
Pocus,
yeah,
excuse me.
yeah.
Oh my God. Are they doing it again?
They may do. You know, the Pandorama. Doing what it does. But yeah, I saw the original burlesque show in Flint, right? But then they expanded. But what other movies do you think could have the shadow cast treatment?
Okay, so like I said, Hocus Pocus
Clearly.
is my spirit animal at the Halloween season.
Seriously.
So yes, number one. And I was so sad to miss it because they were actually showing the same weekend as we had.
Oh no.
That's
So I was
right.
sad.
Yes.
I don't think I understood that. I don't think I grasped because I'm just now realizing that there was a Hocus Pocus Shadowcast.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure was absolutely amazing.
I heard it was great. I heard that there was a few things that could be adjusted. It was their first year.
Yeah.
You know, like how do you take something that has not ever had a shadow cast and give it a shadow cast?
Right.
You know, I think things like that are a little bit easier with like musicals, and there's only like one real like musical number in Hocus Pocus, and it's I Put a Spell on You, right?
Yeah.
But like we used to do this thing with the DATC in Ferndale for their movie nights where we would shadow cast like sing the songs live. We would mute the movie. They would have movies in the moonlight, and then we would sing the songs for like those musicals. We did Hairspray.
Oh, that's fun.
We did Grease. We did things like that. I think that shadow casts of like movie musicals would be awesome.
Yes.
You know, like I think that like Hairspray. I would love to see Hairspray. I know it's like played out a lot, you know, but that also has the same kind of sort of like vibe. I think of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It was very avant-garde, and John Waters is like you know, he's just like amazing.
Plus, I think it lends itself. I don't think you can do Pink Flamingos as a show.
Yeah, you know, but there's some really beautiful, impactful moments there, and it's one of those like shows that you can cast.
Yes.
Like, and you are required to cast in a very specific way.
Oh yes.
You know, like you have to have a man play the mom. You have to.
Right.
And Tracy is always an unknown. Always an unknown actress. You know, because this is to propel her. You know, and a bigger woman,
Yes.
you know, to play Tracy, because you know it's like giving that platform. You know, like Ricky Lake started that, and like all of that sort of stuff. So like, and just like those impactful moments to really like bring what's on the screen to life on the stage. That's not necessarily like the actual stage musical, but like the movie.
Right.
Yes.
You know, like. I could like visualize it in my head, like Queen Latifah and everyone like walking in their like triangle formation down the audience with candles lit, singing "I Know Where I've Been."
Right.
Like live with the movie. Like, can you imagine how beautiful that could be? You know, so I think of it in more of like a theatrical lens of like what can really have those impactful moments that are going to change somebody and change them for the better. That's
I love that.
So this is just for funsies. This is not a change them for the better suggestion for a shadow cast. But I really want to see Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes. Oh my God.
Now listen, I have been searching for Nightmare Before Christmas on the stage. By the way, y'all, we need to talk about that.
I was so hey guys.
I have been
searching
and searching. I have found like little tiny productions of it here and there, and I've seen like clips of them, and they kind of just it's not quite it. It's not quite it, you know. And I feel like the maybe what's missing is the movie. It needs to be shadow cast. Because I've seen like people are trying to produce Nightmare Before Christmas on stage.
Oh my God.
And it's just right. I think here's the thing. I think it could be done. Theoretically, I think it could be done. But the problem is, I think that for it to be done really well as a production in and of itself, it needs a lot of production value.
Yes.
It needs a lot of money behind it for it to really be done well.
I agree.
Hell of a costumer.
Yeah.
Your makeup has to be on point.
On
And it's going to be a lot of dance, I think, focused, right?
Yeah.
Along with your music, right?
Like your Jack Skellington, because of the way Jack Skellington walks in that movie, your Jack Skellington has to be a dancer. He has to have those ballet arms and those ballet legs to be able to do the things that he does in the movie. But but the stilts would cause him to not be able to do
walk
dance.
differently.
It would be different.
Have you
I
seen
think-
Cirque du Soleil?
I know, but are you gonna find us still? Well, yeah, we could find us still. But regardless,
Taking submissions now.
I think that would be an incredible movie to have.
Yes.
That would be
Because you'll get the magic of the still, the movie, but then we'll bring it to you. And like when the freaking this is Halloween, when that shit's happening and all the little fucking dudes from Halloween Town are coming out, if they were coming out through the audience, you had all them
Done.
Come on now.
Done.
Look for Nightmare Before Christmas Shadowcast
What?
to be brought to you by the Ibis at some point in life.
Oh my God, that's great. That's an excellent idea.
I'm gonna keep the horror thing going. I would love to see a Shadowcast version of Death Becomes Her. Like, okay, can you picture it? It's a small cast. You get to have fun with makeup effects. You get to just have. Is there? Oh my God! Someone look it up. Let us know.
Yes,
Death
Becomes
But
Her.
it's one of my absolute favorite Goldie Hawns of all the Goldies.
Oh yeah.
And
There's a
Meryl.
lot. I know.
Yeah.
Perfect Meryl.
Now a warning. No.
And that's such a good one that it kind of lends itself to callbacks and things like
Yes.
that. So that's my weird. It's not a musical, but you can have so much fun with it unless the musical exists. In which
That's
case,
a musical.
we're gonna hunt it down after.
Somebody's on that.
I mean, my dinner with Andre, obviously. It's an awesome Shadowcast. Just the food. I really wish that like Lloyd Kaufman had actually paid to bring Toxic Avenger,
Ooh.
the musical, to a film version. Because Lloyd, do you have TikTok? 'Cause please follow me, because I love you. And I would love if Lloyd, please. Anyway, but yeah, no, I would love someone to do a film. Just film a production of Toxic Avenger and then Shadowcast that thing. Because that,
Gorgeous.
I just love that. I love that musical. But yes.
You had an excellent question that was kind of plot based around
Okay.
Rocky. Do we want to bring it back to Rocky because we got just a couple more minutes?
So let's do this. Hello everyone. I'm going to do some history
Hey.
that people may not be aware of, or they may have heard of this but they don't know the plot. There is originally there was a sequel planned for Rocky Horror, and it's called Revenge of the Old Queen. It's a literal sequel. It features Frank's mum.
Oh, fun.
And it features Janet, but not Brad. Brad is mentioned, but Brad doesn't feature. But Janet does, and Brad's younger brother does. And the
I
old,
know.
I know,
know.
I know. And the old queen is the queen of transsexual, and she wants revenge on Riffraff. Janet it's set several years afterwards. So Janet's like in her mid-30s, but she looks about 50. Because she's been, used, damp, and put away. Yes. And Brad is mentioned that Brad is now a go-go dancer. I actually like a lot of the plot elements, but I've never really been able to find a confirmed script.
Good for Brad.
Yeah,
Go
good
ahead.
for Brad.
You go, girl.
Not only did he,
You go, girl.
Not
That
only
was a
did
cute
he,
little pun.
bring Luna on for applause for that line. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, but that's where Revenge of the Old Queen went.
Okay.
But that was never really produced. So where do you think Brad and Janet go for the end of the movie?
Oh. Ooh.
Well,
For the sequel,
No
the
pressure.
movie.
The sequel, the movie, yes.
I mean, because I just think Brad is so damn cute. I'm sorry. But I don't know. I kind of love. I did not know about that. I am sorry. I don't know.
Consummate
I don't know. I
Um,
clearly don't know a lot about a lot. I know a lot about a lot, but I know like a lot about I don't know a lot about a lot. So, and I didn't know that there was like another one other than the sequel that was actually made that only featured Riff, which was weird, and Magenta.
Right.
It was like a weird one. I love this though. Like
Yeah.
this plot line. I kind of like would love to see like Brad and Janet together, but not together. But like the first like open relationship.
Yeah,
Ooh.
polyamory double
You
feature.
know? Yeah, exactly. Like I think that would be like super fun, and then like they could be like the ones that like maybe run like a really crazy theater or something like that
They
because they.
continue the cult of Frank.
Yes.
Yes.
And everyone shares Dr. Scott.
Oh, boy.
The glue in the middle.
No, that totally works because you think about who survived.
Yeah.
It was those three.
Those three survived. For those of you who don't know, there are two versions of Rocky Horror Picture Show, the movie, the UK and the US version. The US version has the house blast off and nothing else, and the UK version shows that Brad, Janet, and Dr. Scott have survived and are now burnt to a crisp, but alive. And they sing about it, and it's great. So,
Major spoilers.
For a movie
36-year-old movie.
that is 46 years old.
you will get. Here's the thing, though. We all, if you have been on Ghostlight, you know spoilers happen. If you are speaking about something,
Spoilers happen.
so welcome to BTG and all of the spoilers.
These things do happen. Yes. Until you stop these things from happening, this thing does not happen.
And
That
that's
was
what
my
just happened.
phantom. My phantom.
It was
Homage.
perfect. Nicely done. Thank
Carlotta.
you.
I love her.
Oh, she's the best. You know, we are coming towards the end of our time together
Yeah.
here this Sunday. First of all, I just want to give a huge shout out to a ton of people who are joining in with us, saying hi. So hey everybody, happy spooky season. Thank you so much for your comments, your questions, your Google searches, and keeping us honest.
Exactly.
If we ain't got time for it right now. Yeah, this has just been a lot of fun. I'm gonna say, like, it is so special to have people be able to touch each other and talk and so expect to see more of these guys. We're not going back.
We're not. I think this is gonna be our status now. I think we're gonna be in person now, so we'll be able to see the funness all together. I wanna thank Bridget Gappa. Gappa, thank you for joining us again. Mama B, Deja Words, you are joining us tonight. We got Tracy, thank you for joining us. And if you joined us tonight on the TikTok or on the Facebook or on our website, and I did not mention your name, that's only because I didn't see it. So thank you all. Yes, hello everybody for
Yeah.
joining us. Thank you so
We
much for
kind of
joining us,
need a
everybody.
riffraff running this now.
Right.
So we have
Yeah.
like this.
We're gonna need an actual. You know what? We're gonna need a stage manager.
Yeah.
Somebody. See, this is what happens when you grow.
Yes.
Things are really happening. It's just.
It feels good, doesn't it?
It feels
It
damn
does.
good.
Just don't suck it up.
Yeah.
You know what? You know
That's
what?
how Eric used to tell me.
Have you met me? I don't fuck anything up.
Okay, she's not wrong, which is gross.
It's really weird.
It like makes me a little bit like I hate you.
You don't though. Okay, Bessie, you
Are you
don't.
sure?
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
kidding.
no,
I
that's
love-
not now.
No, I love you.
I mean, she wasn't questioning it, but you know.
Right.
Now I've got concern now.
Forever my toy, forever my lady.
Oh, that's another one, y'all. We'll talk about that at another time.
Such a gorgeous show. Oh
Talk
my
about that show
God.
forever, honestly. But we are out of time now, so we can't talk about it right now. That wasn't even our topic anyways. Our topic was Rocky Horror Picture Show.
With the incomparable Michael Johnson. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This was really great. I really enjoyed it, and I love this chats like this. And that was the quickest hour that has ever happened. in
I
my
know.
entire life.
Beautiful.
That's
That
what
was
happens
awesome.
with BTG, man.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know it, and
It
then
was
next
fun.
thing you know, it's
It
over.
was.
And remember, we're going to be at Beacon Park.
Yeah, October 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2021, Beacon Park, downtown Detroit. Gates at 7, show at 8. There will be an intermission. Grab bags free. It is free and open to the public.
Hey!
Free and open to the public.
We love free 99.
Yes. So you do not need to reserve seats.
Mm.
I would suggest trying to get there early. I would also suggest to bring a camp chair if there are, I don't know what they're doing with seating this year.
Gotcha.
It was a little bit weird last year. So this year, I don't know what's happening. So bring a chair just in case, or a blanket. It's turf, it's not grass, and it's under a tent, so rain or shine, it's happening.
And are they gonna have that little delicious cider stand that they had? Y'all, they had like mulled cider
What?
and donuts and things.
We don't get
like
to enjoy these things
Sorry.
because we're like putting makeup on in the tent.
No, I'm gonna be in the spotlight, so I'll snag some for all y'all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well,
Look good looking out, Luna.
I
Good
got
looking
you.
out.
I got you.
All right. So for those of you out there in internet land, thank you so much for joining us. This has been Beyond the Ghostlight with the Ibis Theater. We are doing this first Sunday of every month. So we'll be back again next month with a new guest, a new topic, and new fun shit to talk about. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the flip side. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Beyond the Ghostlight.